Hi, everybody. Well, here we are with Cruise Shop Save Again. I'm Melissa, and my special guest today is Bill Disinger of Glow of the Caribbean. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. Good to see you again, as always.
Likewise. And we were just saying that we should make this a weekly thing because you're
Right.
so positive and I love hearing what you're up to. I know you've got a new puppy, and maybe she'll make a little appearance later. But really, why we're here is because of your brand, which is called Glow of the Caribbean, which is unbelievable. I met you last year at the jewelry show in Miami, and I just wanted to interview you about Glow of the Caribbean because obviously people buy it when they go on cruises ashore, but I want to know a little bit more and what's the story of how where you got to today. So what brought you to Glow of the Caribbean?
Oh, well, it's a bit of an interesting story. It just kind of happened, but to go way back, for those that don't know me out there, the uh, the Glow of the Caribbean story actually started in a small town in southern Indiana, in Huntingburg, Indiana, which is where my grandfather started a very successful retail store. And I took it over from him. And that was in, let's see, 83. So I'm starting to show my age here quite a bit.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
was 24 years old and took it over. And we started to grow the store with the idea of offering. My grandfather basically said, if you do a couple things right, with honesty, integrity, and extremely good craftsmanship, and maintain a presence with your lab, almost as important as your retail operation, you'll grow exponentially. So we did that. We used always cutting edge technology. We always were studying and going to different seminars, and we had jewelers that did hand engraving. We'd send them to some of the finest engravers in the world. We did some of our own cutting and polishing, but primarily it was doing jewelry repair. Well, as we developed, we started doing more and more jewelry repair for jewelry stores that couldn't get somebody to get done what they wanted done. So what happened was we elevated ourselves and we started becoming the go-to when nobody else could, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but we had the right equipment, and we were very blessed to have some of the finest bench jewelers anywhere around. But we basically set it up for them that would entice them to want to come. They came from California and all
Right.
over, and we didn't have that many, but we had some of the very, very talented people working for us. Then the recession hit. And when the recession hit in 2008, we went from thinking that anybody could make money in the jewelry business if you were half smart, to all of a sudden thinking nobody's going to make it in the jewelry business unless you're selling beads and like the Pandora beads, and buying and selling gold. So when gold hit 2,000 an ounce, we remember those days.
Yeah.
So now we're about back at that again, but it's come down. Um, so we start thinking we've got to start thinking outside the box. What is it that we can do now that the big thrill at the time was the dancing diamonds? We all remember that by the
Right.
gentleman that invented that in Japan.
Right.
And we start thinking, what can we do that will separate us from everybody else? Moving forward to about 2012, and all that time trying to look for an idea, it came to us that if we were to take a diamond and change the angles to a diamond. Now we start with diamond, of course, we're doing diamonds and gemstones, and we changed the angles of a diamond. It has such a high refractive index. So the RI is so high, whereas glass, like when you would look at a magnifying glass, is just basically glass with a real low refractive index. So if you can follow me on this, you go outside, you take a magnifying glass when we were all kids, we turn it on an angle, and you could catch a piece of paper on fire, whatever, and to that point. So if that's very low, what does it take? What kind of angles does it take to do this with diamond? So we started running some scenario tests, and we found out that it really wasn't that far off from an old miner cut or European cut.
Yeah.
That's like, really? So we were able to focus and converge the the focal point down below a diamond to a convergence point. And then we backed off the angles. And of course, what I'm talking about now is over several years of experimenting. And we were able to uh, correctly set a focus point below the gemstone or diamond. And by creating certain facets, reflect it back up into the diamond, without going into a lot of boring detail, bounce it off the girdle and
Right.
back into, and created a even glow. Now, I will be honest and tell you that this took a lot of time while we were trying to develop this, but we did bring on a couple scientists, and I was very, very blessed to work with a couple of the top scientists on ocular refraction in the world. And they gave me some advice, and we collaborated for a while together. And pretty soon the whole thing started coming together. So we filed for a patent, not knowing if we could even begin to get one, in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is the capital of the state of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
They're global up there. And a friend of mine that was a good customer, that I'm going to go back just a hair here.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine that was a good customer. He had several patents of his own. Brilliant man, professor down in the state of Kentucky. And he came up and he said, if this is what I think it is, he said, you're going to need a lot of power behind you. He said, I'm going to give you a name. I recommend using this firm. He said, they aren't going to throw you any BS. They think they can work with it, they will. Otherwise, they'll pass because they're so busy. So I called him up, sent him the information. Long story short, about 4 or 5 weeks later, went along. One of the girls in my retail jewelry store came up to me and said, you've got a phone call from this gentleman, says he has this firm in Indianapolis and wants to talk to you. Well, I thought that's a little strange, considering that he had somewhere around hundreds and hundreds of lawyers working for him. And I got on, and the first thing he said is right now we probably know more about you and your product than you do. And I thought, well, that's a little brazen. And but his team had been doing a lot of background research on what I had been working on based on the information I sent them. And long story short, they said, when can we see you? And we went up, sat down with his entire team. They drilled me for hours. And at the end we were done, they said, we told you that it would take normally 6 months approximate on average to file for a provisional patent. He said, we're working through the weekend, we're filing Monday morning. And that's how it all started. So it was pretty amazing. We went back up after they got a lot of their work done, drove up there, thought we were walking in with the person that they assigned as head of our project, and to an entire room of lawyers, stenographers, engineers. And I just remember my wife looking at me, and she's got a very analytical mind when it comes to figures. And she's looked around the room and said, I hate to guess what this is costing us. And our lead counsel looked at us and said, no, this is on us this time. We're trying to get this organized, so this is on us. I thought, well, thank God, maybe, or maybe that's not good. So, but that's how it started with the patents. And now we've got just finished with our second patent after 5 years of work on here in the United States. And that was just let officially yesterday. The 1st of December is when we get to use the patent number. And we filed for patents all over England, Europe. And so we have patents there, and we filed provisional patents in China, Russia, and China. Let's see, China, Russia, and India. There we go. Just for protection, because we are working with different people overseas.
That's
so
amazing. Yeah.
That's how. There we go.
There she is.
Here. I'm dog sitting today, and there's my.
Tell everybody what your doggy's called.
Maddie, and Maddie wants to throw her little octopus here. So.
And how old is she?
She is actually 13 weeks old.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, she's not very old. My wife and I decided that since we're going to have our primary home in St. Kitts, we want to work with a really good breeder to get a good golden before we left. My wife sometimes thinks that we may have been out of our minds, but being at
Yeah.
our age and wanting to get a puppy like this, but we've been blessed, and she's a beautiful dog and very, very intelligent dog. So
Yes, they are. So
yeah.
going back to the jewelry. So what we'll do is we'll show some people watching this. We're going to show some images. So that's such a fascinating story because you look at a beautiful piece of jewelry that's really unique and really different, and it's great to know the story behind it. So what are we talking about here when you say Glow of the Caribbean? People are looking at certain designs. So you've got pendants, earrings, bracelets, rings, and it's how would someone find you? How would somebody purchase these amazing pieces of jewelry?
Well, if you're a retailer, or if you are a person that's just interested in going to it, I would just simply go to the website glowofthecaribbean.com. Take a look at it. Now, it is still in the process of being built to our standards, but it does have, I think, around 20 some odd pieces, and they're adding pieces now virtually every couple of days or so. So the line actually comprises a grand total of about 75 pieces, but we've been very selective with the retailers that we're working with all across the Caribbean. We're about about 70% to saturation of the major islands.
Right.
And so we would like to finish that up in the next year or two. But we work, of course, with Hygo Demir, that most people know, down DGI down in Miami. And he has just taken a wonderful care of us down there, and handling our positioning throughout the Caribbean. And then we will be launching in Alaska for the first time, and debuting in the major ports of Juneau, Ketchikan, and Skagway. And that'll be this coming summer of 2021. So we're looking forward to that as well. But the easiest way is basically to find us is go to glowofthecaribbean.com and take a look around. If you got questions, phone numbers are right there. Give us a call, send us an email. You can email us at info@glowofthecaribbean.com. I do see every single email that comes across. And that's one of the first things I do early in the morning while I'm trying to wake up, is start reviewing emails. So, but do reach out. And if you direct it to my attention, Bill, I'll be definitely replying to you. So
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And we're going to have a couple of your pieces on our website too. But a lot of it is it's set in silver and gold. So, and the designs are, how would you describe the collection as far as the design element?
the design elements, we basically, the reason we went to the Caribbean, let's back up a little bit on that, is because we all know that the refractive index, or I'm sorry, not the refractive index, the UV index in the Caribbean is much higher down there than it is in most places. So we decided that what we wanted to do is that we wanted to create a line that was basically destination oriented. My wife and I are blessed to be able to travel quite a bit. And we went down to the Caribbean, and we were doing a lot of different island tours and looking at what we may want to do down there and getting a feel for it. And we quickly figured out that there wasn't a lot of destination jewelry designed specifically for certain destinations like the Caribbean itself. Now, there's some beautiful pieces out there, don't get me wrong. And some of our friends and other different jewelry companies make some nice pieces. But we wanted to create something that was more of a three-dimensional look, a little bit heavier, which is part of our patent and design. And we want to be able to have this subtle glow to it that would glow up to 8 hours in the dark of the night.
Wow.
That'd be a constant reminder of your time in paradise.
Yeah.
So we developed this entire story and theme around it. And we introduced it right before before everything went shut down, which was unfortunate. We debuted last year at the JIS show in Miami. And yeah, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah, it went really well. It was a good success, and it just kept growing up until obviously March when we had to cut it off. The blessing for us was it gave us a chance to take all this information and all these different companies we've been starting to work with and step back and say, okay, now we've got all this done. Let's look at the direction we need to continue to go in. And since we thought at the time it might be June or July when we're going to reopen, we would be prepared and more ready. So now that it looks like it's going to be well after Christmas, I just spoke to Hygo the other day and said, we are truly ready now. And we're constantly adding new designs and hearing what customers want to see. And we just finished a gorgeous sailboat design that actually looks like when you see the glow of the blue topaz in the sails, that it actually looks like it's billowing a bit, moving.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah,
love
go
it.
ahead.
No, I mean, I love your jewelry, and you're right. It totally epitomizes the Caribbean, and it's a wonderful destinational jewelry line. And one thing that when I was on cruise ships and running the onshore shopping program, you say to guests, you've got all your photographs, you've got all the friends that you meet, but you definitely need to buy something when you're in port. And we used to tell people all the different things that they should look for. And I really wish your jewelry was around when I was on ships, because I know my guests would have absolutely loved it. But never mind, we have it on our website, and you have your website, and you will be there when cruise ships start up again next year, which is amazing.
Right. And one thing that we are going to do is we've created this, we call it a gem light. And so obviously here in Indiana, it's a beautiful day today, but we get a lot of cloudy days like you do over in England. And if somebody really wants to show off the glow without having strong light, or if you're working indoors all day and you want to show it off in the dark of the night, we have this little gem light. Now, they're not the cheapest to make. They're totally custom designed to the right wavelength of light to mimic a little bit lower version of the sun's UV light. But they're a $49 value. And right now, up until when the cruise ships relaunch, we're going to be giving one of those away with every single purchase, doesn't matter what the price is. And so one of those will be going with each piece.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, I'll have to get an image of that, and we'll have to put that on our website as well.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, because we're doing lives every Friday. We want to give away jewelry to all our listeners because, Bill, there's a lot of people stuck at home that would be cruising, millions of people, and we're just trying to bring a bit of positivity and fun to people's lives. And we're all chomping at the bit to get out there and cruising again. So what you're doing is amazing. And I know the Alaska, apart from the obvious, but how is the Alaska line different to the Caribbean?
Oh, it's beautiful. We have, let's take, for example, we're challenged to create a piece or several pieces that would mimic the Northern Lights.
Oh, yes.
And if I believe, and I don't know if you have it, you could show it, Melissa. It's the Alaskan video that we just recently completed in New York. If you have a sample of that.
Yeah, we'll show it now.
Show that to some of your friends. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we showed it off to our team down in Miami, Florida. And I said, well, what do you think? And they said, home run, absolute home run. And when you see it on the video, it's not doctored. It is actually what it is. And it does mimic the different colors of the Aurora Borealis. And I'll be honest, what we did with it is we worked on it for about 6 months, very strongly, to create a multicolor using Mystic Topaz as the basic framework because of the variations of color that it creates, and then reflecting it off of our plate that sits down below it, without getting too technical here, into different color spectrums. So you'll see that if you take a look at that little video, which we've just been really thrilled with it. We are looking at bringing some of that Northern Lights look, or the Aurora Borealis look, back into some of the Caribbean lineup in our Chunky Monkey bracelet, which is the rainbow bracelet.
I love
and
that.
introducing some of that, but that'll be for 2022, not 2021.
Okay. Okay, well, we need to start a fan club because for your products, because I really do think it totally epitomizes the location. And you're right, there is some gorgeous jewelry and gorgeous product available ashore, but you really want something that has that. So first of all, Glow of the Caribbean is patented, so you'll never ever find this anywhere else, which I think is unbelievable because when someone has something amazing, it gets copied, and I guess that's a compliment, but
In a lot of
it
ways.
completely saturates the market and they're sometimes inferior. So I love that you're patented so that you can protect the, the genius and all the work and the engineering and the investment that you and your wife have made. I love that.
And it goes a step further too. Coming from the retail industry, we're very, very sensitive to knowing exactly what you talked about. There was nothing worse than when we would take something that we found at one of the shows and we decided that we were going to focus on this product, whichever it was in the jewelry industry, and we would spend whatever amount of dollars blowing it out all over the airwaves, in the newspaper, radio, television,
Right.
and all of a sudden, then everybody else would start copying us, and it
Yeah.
would happen over and over again. And we're all sensitive to that are retailers. It's happened to all of us. And I said to my wife, when we started this line, this is not going to happen. This won't happen anymore.
Too good.
It's going to be secured. We are going to protect our retailers. They're going to know who we're going to use. It's a couple jewelers per island. That's it.
Mhm.
And then we have product too, like Love My Island. And it actually on the side panel is done in a very specific kind of a Caribbean vibe script that would say St. Kitts or St. Martin or St.
Yeah.
Thomas, or without getting into all the different islands, but that's exclusive only to that island. Then when this pandemic hit, we said, okay, we talked to several of the jewelers. They were shut down, said, all right, we will go ahead and promote on our website to the customers. And what we want to do is we want to promote to them, look, your vacation was canceled in 2020.
Yeah.
If you want to give her a piece of destination jewelry, which is what most people do when they go to the Caribbean, they want to buy a little token or remembrance of when they were there. They will now have an opportunity to buy from Glow of the Caribbean or Glow of Alaska next spring from Alaska, or on the website stating that this is a piece that I want you to have because we couldn't go this year. Now, the beauty of the whole thing is that the piece of jewelry actually will have a subtle glow in the dark of the night. So when she takes it off and lays it next to her bed, or she gets up in the middle of the night and goes into the restroom, whatever, and her piece of jewelry's laying there, she'll look down and think, oh, that's glowing.
No
and it'll
way.
be a constant reminder of the time when she was given that piece, whether it was given in paradise or whether it was given under a Christmas tree or whatever it happens to be.
It just encapsulates the memory so well. I love it. And while you've been talking, we have been showing images of this jewelry. And so people can find you on Glow of the Caribbean. You also have an Instagram account and Facebook that you're very active on. And I love that you are still, trying during the pandemic. Obviously, the retailers in the Caribbean islands have been struck very badly by all this because their main source of income was the cruise ships, and people would shop and have a nice time and buy lovely products, even just the little cafes and the bars, and it's all been hit, and they can't wait for all the ships to come back. So I love that idea, and the credit would go to the jewelers as well. I really love that idea, and I really hope that we can start cruising again. But that's such a great thing to do. So anyone watching this, you do definitely need to go over to your website or look on our website, check it out, and buy yourself a nice gift if your cruise was canceled in 2020 or early 21. Unfortunately, some cruises are still canceled, but we should start to get back to normal early next year, right? Do you think so, Bill?
Oh, I sincerely hope so. That's what we're all looking for. I worry so much about our retailers throughout the Caribbean, and just the impact that this has had on their livelihoods and their families. And we're constantly reaching out to them and saying, look, our prayers are with you. We care about you guys. And when they get ready to get started again, everything and anything we can do to help them, we're going to be there for them. Coming from being a retailer for nearly 38 years myself, I understand. So,
and you've been through it in the economic crash in 2008 in 2008. But this is not like the same. I mean, this is way worse.
No,
but
it's totally different, right?
It's totally different. Yeah. Amazing. So I know you're available in Majesty Jewelers in St. Martin.
Correct.
And Milano, which is an excellent jewelry store, practically in every location, more or less. And where else can people find it when they start cruising again?
If we're actually building a section on our website, and it's there right now, but it isn't actually go to GPS or Google Maps. But if you also go to glowofthecaribbean.com and you go under, I believe it's About Us, you'll find it. It's right there. It has the entire list of all the different islands we're on and the jewelers and contact information for those different jewelry stores. Our goal is to make it interactive so that when if you're cruising on any particular line, when you get to that island, you're going to be able to see where that jewelry store is, and using your cell phone, it'll actually guide you to that jewelry store through our website. So that's the game plan. That's what we're currently working on with our webmaster and a couple of people on search engine optimization.
Cool. Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you, Bill, for your time. This has been a real pleasure. Like I said, I think your brand is unlike any other jewelry brand that's available in the Caribbean. And I wish you all the success in the world. I hope I get to visit you in St. Kitts one of these days.
I hope so. We hope you do, and your husband. And it's always great to talk to you, Melissa. So wish you the very best at your end and look forward to working with you in the future.
Me too. Thanks a lot, Bill. Thank you so much for your time. And maybe you come back and talk to us again in the future, yeah?
Anytime you want to, Melissa. It's a true pleasure.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Bill. You take care.
You too. God bless.
Bye.